Okay, let's turn the page to week 6. It is time for Imagine That, presented by Xfinity. We like to tell you what you might see, or at least, kind of dream out a scenario a little bit. Joshua, why don't you go first?
Yeah, this one is just to kind of spark discussion, but imagine that Miami, Texas Tech, and Iowa State all lose this weekend. So we're talking about two conferences in the ACC and the Big 12 where there is this debate throughout the season that people are going to have. How many teams do they get into the college football playoff?
Mm-hmm.
And so Miami, who I think is one of the best teams in the country, they're only favored by like 6.5 right now. So it's a tight one. If they lose that game, what do we think about the ACC? Probably changes our thoughts on Florida State, but
quick
like,
point. It's lower.
go ahead.
Four
Yeah.
and a half.
Oh, there we go. Thank you very much. 4.5 points. So what do we think about them? Like, we thought we knew about Miami. Maybe we don't. We thought we knew about Florida State. After last weekend, we're like, maybe we don't. So I think there's a conversation there. Same thing with Texas Tech. And I think they're the heaviest favorite out of this group here. But like, they're the team that's rolling, and they spent the money, and it seems like it's working. That defense is playing well. But what happens there if that race becomes a little bit more wide open, which is where I flip over to Iowa State, the other team a lot of people feel confident about. Last time I looked, they're an underdog against Cincinnati. What do you do with that? And so that's kind of the imagine that for me is how will we talk about these conference races and how does that impact their ability to get multiple bids in the playoff?
I like it. Your Imagine That last week did not end up holding up. That was maybe a little bit too much faith in Washington's chances against Ohio State, but that was
it was a good primer for how that game kind of went, though.
It was. Okay, so mine is, I'm going to tell you, imagine that the Arch Manning hype train revs back up with a big performance against Florida. This was a game that before the season we had all circled because we're like, oh man, Arch Manning, DJ Lagway. Well, they're in the group of quarterbacks that have been very disappointing considering our preseason expectations. Certainly DJ Lagway. I don't know that anyone would have predicted him having a 5 interception game. He has. Florida is like skating by, like Billy Napier's on the hottest of hot seats. And this game is at the Swamp. Texas is coming off of their actual best performance so far. Again, I get it. It was Sam Houston. But there's some nature of a get-right game, some confidence building for Arch Manning. And this is like the first big opportunity to show that you are definitely not the team that you were when you played Ohio State in week 1. I know Florida's got a decent defense here. They do. They're, that's the one area that I think you can be excited about or happier with. The offense is absolutely inept. So there's got to be something. But what if Arch looks good against it? What if he actually hits his open receivers? What if they scheme up some nice plays for him? What if he runs a little bit and it works? Maybe the confidence spills over. Maybe it kind of changes the season for Texas. Imagine that.
I will not allow myself to get on the Arch Manning hype train after one very good performance. But I know that the media world at large absolutely will. And in particular, folks who cover the NFL and like to drop in randomly on a Saturday with unwarranted and unasked for commentary.
This will be the game that they're watching.
100%. But I think you make a great point. This feels like a game where the first of 10 might win. Like, I think both of these defenses have played pretty well throughout the year. In Florida, in particular, her defense has played well in some bad spots. Like that offense has not done them a lot of favors. So if he can have a good performance in this game, I do think it would make people feel more confident about his ability to execute down the line. I'm just not going to let myself get back on the hype train.
But the hype train would exist.